Welcome to the Forecast by Ahom, connecting with people one story at a time. In this series, I'll be reviewing news the people in my network, are talking about. As a business founder, D&I consultant, and community builder, I know great content inspires. I'm going to react to today's story, and then Jazz, the AI, will read it aloud to you. We have so much to cover, so please like, follow, share, and let's get started. Welcome or welcome back, Series 4, Episode 8. My name is Ahom. This is the Forecast podcast, and today I'm talking about cultural intelligence. Maybe more importantly, I believe it's super vital, very vital, as an indicator, a predictor of success. If you have high cultural intelligence, you can be super successful. And here is how to boost it. New format, as you know. I'm back after a long hiatus. I wanted to talk about cultural intelligence because, as you know, I have about 28,000 connections on LinkedIn, and people ask me, what are your core competencies? So I put it on my banner. One of them at the top is, at the time of recording this, of course, is emotional and cultural intelligence. I think it's really important in a world where we have such a high number of differences: cultural, emotional, racial, traditional differences, all kinds of people that make up our societies. One of the skills that I believe we need to invest most in is cultural understanding. So I wanted to do an episode on it, and here it is. As always, I'll give you my piece, and at one point, Jazz, my AI, will do the honors and read an article all about the topic. So, what do I think about cultural intelligence? Please, as always, challenge me, reply, comment, tell me what you think. We can have those discussions. Some of these topics, they're difficult, and there are differences between our opinions. We can have heated conversations, we can have civil conversations, but we need to have these conversations. Would you believe that a few months ago, I was speaking with let's say a senior member of a company X. Won't even talk about how big they were. But one of their reservations about having a diverse workforce was that you're going to have all these different peoples with their different ideas and values and different religions, and having this mix makes life difficult. He believed that if you have more homogeneity, so more people from the same background, then you'd have less argument, less conflict. He believed that he was a conflict averse person. He didn't want to have conflict of any kind in the workforce, and the best way to do that was to hire as many people from the same background so everyone would see eye to eye. Now, that might sound crazy to you. Unfortunately, so many people believe something along those lines. I, of course, don't. I think diversity is key as the first step. The second step, of course, is having those people feel a sense of belonging, feeling valued, feeling seen and heard. That inclusion piece, I think, is very, very telling in successful environments. But one of the hidden skills, one of the things that we don't talk about enough, is cultural awareness and cultural sensitivity, understanding people's backgrounds culturally and emotionally. So for a long time that was seen as a soft skill, maybe even a female skill. 2022, 2023, we're talking about it as if it was an essential skill. So what changed? We changed. The workplace changed. What people wanted from their work experience changed. Now, I'm someone who is super invested in the future of work. I talk about new work, I talk about people and culture, workplace experience, and to understand the experience at work, you have to go back a few steps and understand people who have experiences at work. A lot of people these days, because our spaces are becoming more diverse, they're having different feelings, different experiences, not always positive. And a long time ago, I feel the people who had negative work experiences were often fired or silenced. Now, with social media, more people being open, more people just saying, I will not take it. If I'm abused at work in any way, I'm going to speak up. If I lose my job, and many people do, still to this day, or they're throttled, passed up for promotions, but they're talking about it. And that gets it onto my table, onto your table, onto our tables. So, once again, for me, cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence is an essential skill. I'm not a big believer in everything that you can understand or learn in the classroom being all you need to be successful in business. I'm going to say that again. I think there's a huge value in university, for example, in business studies, in economics, but so much of the real talents and skills that you need to be a great leader, need to be a great employee, need to be a great colleague. You can't teach those things in the classroom. It's about experience. And that's why I talk so much about community building and workplace experience. Now, at the time of recording this, the World Cup is still running. And it reminded me, how do teams like this perform at such a high level with so many people from different backgrounds? They may be from the same country, but their journeys are completely different. And it reminded me of the workplace, a place that I'm committed to changing. I want the world of work to be a better place for everyone. That's my mission, that's my motto, that's what I talk about a lot on podcasts, at speaking events, in all the jobs I've had. Community building, talking about the future of work. I believe that the world of work must be better for everybody, not just for the chosen few. And sports has the power to change lives. It is the platform that we see every day around the world, on TV, but also in our own lives for all kinds of people. But how do these teams perform at such a high level? Well, I believe it's partially to do with a skill that athletes, that I learned as well as an athlete, student athlete, young person playing sports to a decent level. I met many people from around the world who saw things differently, but believing and committing to equity, to inclusion, understanding other people's opinions and values, and compromise. Those are the things that helped me to become the person I am today, despite so many not believing in those values. And that's part of what I believe makes up cultural intelligence. But tell me, how important do you think cultural intelligence is? Is it a skill that is valued these days, in your opinion? Is it a skill that's lost? Did the last generations do it better than us? I want to hear from you. So, before I give you my feedback and my understanding of this concept we're talking about, I'm going to let Jazz read an article, a great article that I found about cultural intelligence and how you too can improve your skill and hone your cultural intelligence and emotional skills. Listen up if you haven't read this article, take some notes, and get at me if you feel otherwise. Enjoy the article.
I work with brands from all around the world, and I've noticed that organizations are thankfully finally becoming much more diverse. Perhaps you've noticed the same thing. Perhaps your own colleagues and clients increasingly represent a broader range of cultures, ethnicities, economic statuses, and so on. It makes sense, then, that cultural intelligence is fast becoming a highly desirable attribute in the workplace. But what exactly is cultural intelligence? Why does it matter for workplace success? And how can you become more culturally intelligent? Read on to find out. What is cultural intelligence, and why does it matter? Cultural intelligence refers to our ability to work effectively in culturally diverse situations. Someone who is culturally intelligent is not just aware of diversity, they are able to relate to and, where appropriate, adapt to people of different races, genders, cultures, ages, religions, sexual orientations, political beliefs, socioeconomic statuses, disabilities, and so on. This ability to work successfully with people who have different backgrounds and life experiences is crucial. In the 21st century workplace, it's a vital part of being an effective team player and a good leader. In fact, some experts argue that cultural intelligence is such an important predictor of success in the workplace. It's right up there with cognitive intelligence (IQ) and emotional intelligence (EQ). For this reason, cultural intelligence is often referred to as cultural quotient or CQ, reflecting its importance alongside EQ and IQ. But what does CQ look like in practice? Culturally intelligent people are often curious and open-minded, empathetic and emotionally intelligent, collaborative, and able to work well with others, effective communicators, adaptable and flexible, and able to adapt their behavior when needed. How to improve your cultural intelligence? Many organizations are investing in training and education in this area. But what can you do as an individual to boost your CQ? A good starting point is to look at the above traits and find ways to cultivate your skills in those areas. For example, you can work on your adaptability by pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and putting yourself in new situations. Or you can become more empathetic by routinely putting yourself in other people's shoes. Looking beyond those traits, here are some simple and practical steps you can take to become more culturally intelligent. 1. Firstly, remember that no culture is superior to another. Underneath our cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, political beliefs, or whatever, people largely want similar things: to live a decent life, do a good job, be happy, have a family in all the forms that may take, have a safe roof over our head, achieve some level of financial security, cultivate friendships and relationships, and so on. I'm not advocating downplaying the many ways in which people differ. Recognizing our differences is important, but we should also recognize that our own culture and experiences aren't necessarily better than others, just different. 2. Think about the sorts of biases that may narrow your vision. For example, how does your own cultural background influence your worldview? Think also about the biases that may exist in your organization. 3. Have lots of interesting conversations with people who have different experiences and beliefs than your own. 4. Practice active listening. Becoming a better listener can help you understand where people are coming from and deepen your knowledge. 5. Consume content from around the world. I like to read news stories and watch news broadcasts from countries like India and China because it helps me understand how other cultures view the world. You can also watch movies or read books from other countries to widen your worldview. 6. Watch a TV show or read books or articles that demonstrate opposing viewpoints. For example, if your politics lean towards the liberal, you might tune into Fox News. It probably won't sway you from your political beliefs. In fact, it may cement them even further, but it'll certainly help you understand what matters to those at the other end of the spectrum. 7. Go to a religious service for a denomination that's different from your own. 8. Where possible, immerse yourself in different cultures and perspectives. If you travel to a new country, for example, get out there and wander through the food markets, ride public transport, and generally soak up the culture. It's more effective than purely reading about it.
So there you have it. Travel, experience, listening to others, having these conversations itself, those things alone broadens the mind and sharpens our tools. As I said, I think in an increasingly diverse world that we live in, we have to be inclusive and we have to be able to navigate through all the different facial gestures, the hand movements, the accents, the assumptions we make, the habits that we have. All of these things have to change for us to do better. Culture, it's everywhere. It's not just on holiday. Culture is everywhere, on our buses, on our trains, in our workplaces. And we have to be able to engage with people on the right level to have success. Does that make sense? What do you think is the best way to be successful? So cultural intelligence is the ability to have or make sense of, let me say, the unfamiliar context, unfamiliar situations that we find themselves in. And there are three components to this: the physical, the emotional or motivational, and the cognitive. Hone these skills, get it right, and it will equip you, any person out there listening, to understand the differences that we're going to have more of in the future. Tell me what you think. What are your strategies? What are your what are the things, the processes that you do to understand people more around you? Or do you feel that understanding people around you in your teams is overrated? Should we go back to the chalk and talk? Should we go back to more hierarchical scenarios where you have a boss, or well, let's say a well-trained, experienced boss, and you just do what you're told? Life can be easier that way as well. Let me know what you think. So that brings me to the end of this episode, Series 4, Episode 8. I'm loving getting back on the mic. Tell me how I'm doing, give me some feedback, and I'll see you again on the next episode of The Forecast with Alex Ahom. Thank you very much. This was all about cultural intelligence. What should I speak to next? You tell me. I'd love to listen. My best performances, I think, is when I'm sparring with someone else. Should we do a live somehow? Let me know what you think. But until next time, goodbye.